Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to ICBM, the upcoming nuclear war game by the folks over at Slytherin and Matrix Games. This is a game that is basically a more modern version of the old classic Defcon. At least it's a very Defcon-inspired game, where you are in charge of essentially a continent, or in the case of Russia, or a portion of a continent. And you basically are competitively trying to build up your nuclear arsenal and your defenses so that you can win a nuclear war against everybody else, destroying the rest of your adversary's population centers and nuclear capabilities while protecting your own. We are in part 2 of this series. This game is currently available on Steam as part of the Steam Autumn Festival. You can get the demo for free. It's just the demo version, though, so you can only play multiplayer or create a multiplayer game and just have all the AI control the other countries. So you can play versus the AI. It's just, I don't know what the campaign or a new game or whatever will look like, but there's elements of the game that are currently still in development. Now, as you can see here, we are the North American countries, so the United States, Canada, Mexico, etc. We have built up a reasonably strong air defense system off the U.S. East Coast, along with radar networks that cover the entire borders of the U.S. We have gotten involved in a few conflicts. Our carriers were in the Gulf and were destroyed by South American carriers and destroyers, which were on the Pacific side. We have built a few air bases in the south to give us some defense against South America if they have bombers that try and come up against us. We've built SAM networks that cover most of the East Coast, and then sort of a bit of the over the poles action that we would receive. We did have an airfield and a radar set further west in Alaska, but that was destroyed by the Russians, or actually the Europeans. And we have one submarine here off the U.S. East Coast. We just finished researching submarine ballistic missile subs, and the intent will be to move them east. It does look like there are some European warships off our east coast as well, so we'll have to see if we can't get our SSBNs a little bit further east for potentially a strike against Europe. We have some intelligence on some air bases and things in Europe and Russia, but we don't have any satellites up yet, so we don't have a great view or picture of everything going on. And I'm still building SAMs, so I've got a bunch of SAMs lined up in our build queue. We've got some SSBNs and some MRBMs all lined up, but I want to build a better SAM network here to protect our own country. You know, it might not be a better idea, rather than even worrying about Alaska, because Alaska is only the city of Anchorage in this game, is to bring my SAMs west, just sort of cut off this northern portion of our continent, not bothering to defend that, and keeping our SAMs a little bit more condensed. North America might have the most difficult time in terms of defending itself. You can see Europe is much more condensed, so a SAM covers more territory, so the same number of SAMs in Europe would probably make Europe almost inassailable, whereas, you know, in North America, these borders are so much larger that I think we would have been better off bringing these lines of SAMs south and just abandoning most of Canada, the northern sort of wastelands of Canada, at least as far as this game is concerned, and just building a tight defensive cordon around our American and Canadian and Mexican cities, rather than going along with the true border play, which is what I have done. In any event, that's what we're doing at the moment. We are currently researching advanced ABMs. We are still slanting 70% towards science, 30% toward construction, so a heavy science bend, though we are building a fair number of things. The ABMs will allow us to more effectively knock out enemy ICBMs. It will also increase the accuracy of anti-missile defenses and increase the ability to target multiple targets at once. The benefits will go to destroyers, SAMs, and mobile SAMs. So that new SAM site's ready to be deployed. We're going to switch back into nuclear war mode so those notifications sort of stop interrupting me, and we'll go ahead and deploy this SAM site. I am going to keep going a little bit further west here until I can get past this space radar, and then we'll loop south. So the next SAM will probably go here, and then we'll put here, 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 and then down the west coast. I would like to have a second line of SAMs as well in toward the interior, because I've also just researched ICBMs, and I'm going to start building ICBM silos in our territory as well. The MRBMs are mainly because I think my best chance to hit and hurt someone are probably in South America, but I also need some satellites to get some imagery on like what's actually happening in the area. So we'll bump it back up to ×3 speed. No one has started nuking anyone yet. We're definitely not ready to do that. All we have is strategic bombers. That's our only nuclear asset, and we only have 10 sort of Hiroshima-sized nuclear weapons, so we're not very advanced in terms of our nuclear capabilities at this time. I'm hoping that the AI won't be overly aggressive and this game will sort of stay a little bit more slow-paced so that I can build up an indestructible interior, although that poses its own challenges in terms of our ability to try and overwhelm the adversary as well. So it's kind of it's an interesting balancing act that you have to play in this game where you're sort of deciding if you want to strike early where maybe you don't have the power to destroy your enemy, but you can get your strikes through the enemy territory, or whether you wait and strike later, but by which point their defenses are so built up so that your strike is less effective. And it's definitely a balancing act with regards to making sure that you are researching both offensive and defensive technologies. I think I skewed defensive, and then that may come back to bite me as we sort of see how things unfold. But we'll find out here in a little bit. So you can see we're curling our SAM line back a bit, and we're going to start going down the U.S. West Coast, which right now the West Coast and the interior are totally exposed from a Pacific strike. We have no SAM coverage over the interior of our territory or on our West Coast. Fortunately, no one has satellites yet, but once someone does get satellites, that will expose that knowledge to the AI here. So they will become aware of that very quickly. There's also not a lot of sort of interconnected defenses here with the SAMs supporting other SAM sites. So we did have one SAM sort of off the northeast coast of Canada that was destroyed by, I think, a European destroyer or something to that effect. And it's because it was shooting down the incoming surface-to-surface missiles, but it was all on its own. It didn't have any support from the nearby SAMs. That's why we built a third one back here, a little bit in the rear, so these three on the flank, sort of in the salient, could all defend each other. So you can see here we're working our way down the west coast now, trying to close off our interior. Probably still need another 6 or 7 more SAMs. I'm not sure how many more I'm building here in this queue. Just 2 more before we switch over to SSBNs. But the advanced ABMs will automatically upgrade our ABMs. So they'll get better speed, better range, I'm assuming, so that'll make all of these SAM sites more effective as well. It's a long research item, too. It takes like 20 minutes and ×1 power, so it's at our current research level. So it's a very time-intensive effort. Okay, so the ABMs are researched. We're now researching silent engines, which will benefit our submarines. Or torpedoes, actually. Then we'll go ahead and research improved silent engines, which will benefit our ballistic missile subs, which we've just started laying down here. Our first one is under construction. I'm going to go ahead and build maybe 7 more SAM sites as well. Oh. South America now has satellites up. That's concerning. I guess we should work on getting satellites as well. I already have the technology. I just haven't launched any yet. I think I'm going to place our sub in the Gulf. And then I'm going to go ahead and get our own satellite up. There also are satellite weapons, by the way. So you do have the ability to like have satellites, destroy satellites with lasers, or have your cruisers with anti-satellite missiles destroy satellites that way.
Research complete.
Okay, no research. No research? I thought I had that queued. Alright, so our SSBN is ready. I'm going to put that on the U.S. East Coast. It carries 12 SLBM missiles, as well as torpedoes. Let's get our satellite going first. Whoops. I really just want to focus on those SAMs. Oh, shit. Someone's nuking someone. Let's slow things down here. Well, we waited too long, folks. You can see here London has been nuked. West Africa has had Cairo nuked. Oh, God. South America is being nuked by someone. Buenos Aires is nuked.
Research complete.
We can see here some missiles from an enemy SSBN. Oh, shit. All right, so get it, get it, get it. All right, we got that. You can see enemy aircraft are attacking our SAMs. We just had LA nuked. Oh, fuck.
Structure destroyed. A city has been bombed. A city has been bombed.
Do I not have any of these things? Why is this red?
Has been bombed.
Ah, my entire west coast.
A city has been bombed. Structure destroyed.
Shit. I thought I have SLBMs already researched. I do. So you can see our west coast is getting hit pretty hard. We're over 20% world pollution now, so I'm basically failing completely.
Structure destroyed. A city has been bombed.
Alright, I'm going to set my bombers up with nukes. I have warheads in stock. Oh, these... I didn't build enough nukes. I didn't build, like, any nukes.
A city has been bombed.
I mean, it probably makes sense to switch everything to construction now and screw research. Because the game is basically, once people start nuking, the game is kind of over. You can see San Jose, LA, Phoenix, all hit. Again, my lack of SAMs on the west coast really hindered my ability to defend. I'm confused why my sub can't, is it not in range?
Structure destroyed. Structure destroyed.
Oh, that's it. I have to surface. I forgot that SLBMs have to surface to launch nukes. So we are nuke. I mean, this is not the right way to nuke. You really want to set up war plans. But I'm telling these guys to launch their nukes individually. So you can see we just nuked Santo Domingo. So we are in last place at a negative 180 score, but these nukes are reducing the populations of these cities. You can see when you target these cities, they have a score here. So Havana's worth 16 points, for example. Santo Domingo's 13. Maguna is 9. Bogota is worth 46. We should really target it multiple times. Our nukes aren't big enough in this game. You can see that nuke only took out 3 in Havana. Each one of those only scoring 3. So it doesn't look like the South Americans have a ton of air defenses. That doesn't seem to be something they've focused on. I'm trying to close the gap with my SAMs here to protect my cities further in. Denver hasn't been nuked yet. Los Angeles has, but it still has a population of 2 million. San Jose has been, I think, nuked. Not sure. Vancouver was nuked. Meanwhile, I've got MRBM missile vehicles now. So I can go ahead and, you know, Bogota's now only worth 5 points now by the looks of it. Buenos Aires is getting hit hard. I haven't also researched more advanced nukes, so in terms of in terms of value there's not a lot. I guess we can hit Bogota again. So the real way you want to do this is you want to actually have nuclear... No, New York City just got nuked. I didn't see where it came from, but... Alright, so we just hit Bogota again. But our nukes are all small because we haven't researched thermonuclear weapons. So we can see there's an enemy ICBM here, missile silo that we detected from a launch. So I just launched a MRBM against it. We'll see if the Russians have SAMs shoot it down. No, it looks like we hit it and destroyed it. Moscow was just hit. 30,000 dead. I'm assuming that means it's already been flattened a bunch. The world pollution is up to 39, by the way. You can see Los Angeles, San Jose, Vancouver, Calgary, all glowing green. Toronto just got nuked. So this is not, you know, the right way, I think. Why aren't they shooting that damn thing down? They had 2 ABMs that didn't hit it. Okay. Let's get rid of these missile vehicles and just focus on getting better SAMs and then rebuilding our weapons here. We'll give 10... We're never going to get thermonuclear weapons. My MRBMs can't really do much. You can go for Petropolsk, but there's a very small population there. Alright, shot that one down. Boom! I nuked a city that's already very small. Alright, do we send our bombers off with our warheads, with our megaton bombs, against anything? Apparently when you hit certain cities with bombers, you get way more points. That's interesting. Our East Coast SAMs are doing some work. Meanwhile, you can see our B1s basically are trying to race in here at top speed. We're going to see if we can get our megaton bombs on target. Oh, shit. They're going for here. You can see enemy fighters are intercepting us along the way. So one of the things you want to do is the exact opposite of what I did and have a war plan. So you can basically set up your war plan so that you can say, I want all my missile vehicles to target enemy carriers, submarines, destroyers, or radars, or over-the-horizon radars, or those kind of things. And then you launch that war plan first, and then you have your ICBMs and your bombers sort of come in afterwards and mop up after the fact. You did see that one of our bombers did get in and did strike Goikale? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. You can see it looks like we got 2 bombs on target there, and that helped. But again, we're deep in last place at this point. My East Coast SAM network is reasonably strong. I still have 5 submarine-launched nukes. I'm not sure what the cooldown is on those. My SSBN, by the way, is just hanging out there. Mexico City just got nuked. North America, I feel like, is a very difficult play. Oh, we don't have anything more producing? Let's build some ICBMs, I guess. I wish you could control the route that your bombers take. You can see we're not going to get very many points with these smaller weapons. So larger yield weapons also seem to net you more points. Okay, so we'll get some hit Merida. Again, we're deep, deep, deep in last place. World pollution is up to 50%, or global pollution is up almost to 50%. Very shortly here, the game's going to auto-trigger a event that will count the game clock down so that it'll end within 20 minutes. When the radiation levels get high enough, basically the game will end within a certain period of time. Weapon dropping on Kingston, Jamaica. Didn't give us any points, though, it doesn't look like. Yep, 20 minutes till finish. So you can see here, I don't have a lot of weapons here to... The nice thing is with my missile vehicles, in theory, I can tell them to drive somewhere. You can hit our MRBM there out that way. South America must not have researched ABM tech. I need to research more nukes. My MRBMs can target enemy carriers? Interesting. I wonder if I just sank that carrier. Looks like we just nuked it. What do we have? Carrier killers at this stage? Ha! Nuclear weapons off the water. Oh, cool. And the mushroom clouds look a little bit different. What I really need is satellites so I can see more targets. Satellites will let you see like what your adversary is has in terms of like SAMs or other things like that. Let's go ahead and nuke Lima with one of our ICBMs. We'll see if that gets there. It did. So you can see we just got 19 points for nuking Lima. I've really been focusing on South America, which frankly, if I'm building ICBMs, I need to build more megaton ICBM weapons. The nukes get built really fast, even if the silos don't. So we'll put another silo here inside our SAM coverage. We'll go ahead and hit Lima twice, I think. And again, this is not the way that I should be doing it, but I am manually controlling these strikes. So the Pacific is in last place now, so we're actually no longer the last place team here as we completely flatten Lima. I'm not sure it makes a lot of sense to require us to nuke cities, 20 times to get the max destruction points on them. Feels a little bit redundant, but, My SAMs are coming in big. You can see our score is netting out to almost even now. We took some pretty big punishment early on, but the SAM networks are really helping defend us from these second-on strikes of the enemy as we slowly and methodically start to wear down some of these enemy targets. So that is, I think, coming in handy. Oh, no. Our MRBM just got hit. That might have been Florida. I'm not sure if they actually hit a city there or not. I've kind of given up using my bombers because they only have conventional munitions now. Like, can we hit these guys with conventionals and try and knock out some of these SAMs? You can also apparently conventionally bomb cities. Oh, we just knocked out that SAM site. Okay. Do they give us intelligence? Because they're obviously launching missiles out of Santo Domingo, but I don't know what's down there. Does it show me if I fly over there? Give me a little bit of radar coverage. Oh, it's a SSBN. All right, let's go. Oh no, they just got one of my ICBM fields. Well, good for you. I've got another. Need to build more weapons, though. I still have that sub, right? Yeah, I do. All right, I'm setting my sub down here to attack this enemy SSBN, this boomer. Meanwhile, there's some enemy destroyers off our coast in that direction. I think all my medium-range missile tubes got destroyed, though. Can these aircraft... I don't need a nuke, I just want conventional. Just destroy these guys. Alright, we'll send our bombers up there to see if we can't knock out that enemy ship. Meanwhile, Europe is pretty radioactive, so is Africa. There's not a lot of targets left. I wonder if we can get an ICBM in on Paris, if we get any points for that. Yes, we will. Alright. We'll go ahead and hit Paris and Dublin, London, Munich, Berlin. We're down to 1 minute left. We're no longer even in second to last place. South America is just barely ahead of us on the points totals. Surface the boat. Oh, the game is over. The world is in ruins. Okay, so we finished in what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place out of 8. We had 46 warheads. We detonated 27.5 megatons, so Europe went way higher. We killed 21 million people. Europe killed 51 million. 57% of our population remained. However, we had the best, I think that's what the percentage means. We had the best remaining population of anybody. So, you know, we did okay there. We killed 21 million. South America started the thing off against us, and they got to an early start for us. But our SAM shield did defend us pretty effectively against South America, which was the main one targeting us. The rest of the countries kind of focused on targeting their own countries. I don't know if maybe we didn't get far enough down the tech tree to really have wide-scale ICBM adoption, although we know the Russians definitely had some. We did destroy some of Russia's ICBM fields. You can see in terms of points gained, is this us? No, we're down here. So we were in last almost the whole way. Again, that really defensive approach. We did start to eke up a little bit there at the end. We almost passed South America. In terms of population here, is that Europe? Who is that big, thick line here? I'm just trying to see here. Who... Is that the global population? That must be the global. Yeah, I don't even know what this represents. But you can see the U.S. actually did reasonable. While we got off to a very slow start, you can see the North American continent here, we flatlined after some early losses, and we really leveled off once we closed off some of that territory with our SAMs and got those advanced SAMs. Nukes launched were, you know, near the bottom. You can see here that that's South America launched a crap ton at us, but most of them got shot down. Nukes exploded, so we saw that South America was by far the first in terms of nukes launched, but you can see they're near the bottom in terms of nukes exploded. So again, that's a testament to the effectiveness of our SAM shield, but again, I think if I were to play this again as North America, I would devise a different strategy so that we can cover our territory more effectively. We had a lot of extra SAMs on the north that probably wasn't necessary because there were no population centers up there that they were defending. In terms of megatons exploded, South America also near the bottom. I'm going to guess they didn't get a ton of research, just like us. We only had megaton weapons. We never got to like 30 or 50 megaton weapons, so they probably didn't have very much there. Meanwhile, in terms of nuke stockpile, the Pacific had 2,685 megatons in stockpile, way more than everybody else. We were at the bottom by far, not even close. We didn't even have a megaton stockpiled. We were kind of launching it all off at the end there, but... and then let's see what else. Research progress. That's the one thing we were in first place with. We spent hard on research all the way, and so we ended up researching 35% of all the available technologies. No one else is even close. We would have done well in a longer game, but the AI kicked off the nuclear war earlier than I think we would have liked. We didn't even have a war plan set up. So I'll have to do a different video focusing on like building an actual nuclear war plan, because I just did it all manually, and that's not the way you really want to play the game. And then military might, we're actually in first. So a lot of these other countries saw a big precipitous drop once the nuclear war started. Most of our targets that were hit were population centers early. They didn't take out a lot of our stuff. We're first in might, but again, that's probably mainly being done due to the number of SAM sites we had. In any event, guys, that's the end of our first look of ICBM. My first impressions, really good, really strong. I hope you have the option to kind of control AI aggressiveness, because I don't know about I'm not a min-maxer, but the completionist in me would like to see, like, I always am like, I want to research this item and this item and this item, and then knowing when it's time to build. And build up a stockpile and build up a force that you can strike the enemy with is important, because we basically had nothing. We had almost no punch. We had a lot of shield, no punch. And so it prevented us from getting last place, but it didn't do much more than that. And I think I could do a better job of that for sure. I also think North America, just given its geographic setup, probably the same for South America too. Europe, East Asia, West Asia, Russia are all kind of crammed in together. Africa to a little bit less of an extent, and so those continents have very different strategies, I think, than North America does. Like, ICBMs are absolutely vital for North America. They're probably less so for Europe and Russia and all the others in this game anyway, because they don't have to strike North America. They can focus on killing each other all way closer. So I think it does bring a bit of variety in terms of the strategy you can play and the way to play it. In any event, as you can tell as I'm kind of blabbing on and on about this, I think this is a really cool game. I'm really interested to see where this goes. I want to know what the single player is going to look like. You know, they have a new game option here. I don't know if it's just going to be this kind of a sandbox, or maybe there will be, actual scenarios or things you need to focus on and different challenges, and I think that could be really interesting as well. But I think from a multiplayer game perspective, the game is already really solid, and I think it's ready to ruin friendships. So this has multiplayer and competitiveness written all over it, and I think is a really interesting game. But we'll see how this plays out. Until next time, guys, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.